Welcome back to our AI series, and we're going through a series with Oak Ridge National Laboratory experts that's going to help the community better understand, and professionals understand, where artificial intelligence is and how it's progressing in our lives and in our industries and everything else. And this is the fourth of 5 shows, actually 6, because the director will be on sometime in March. We have to get that set up to follow up what we're doing. I've actually had several calls on people wanting to get a segment in outside of ORNL, like people that are in this business professionally, and we just wasn't. That's not the way we looked at it. We want to get the leader of innovation in the world, Oak Ridge National Laboratory, to just kind of lay everything out. And every show's been great, and we're appreciative of all that they've done for us. Now we're lucky to have Oak Ridge National Laboratory, so that's where we are. So then, welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
I get that. I'm going to go over what some of the others have done, and maybe you can help me better understand or continue to understand the difference in the roles that everybody plays. I really haven't covered that in the shows much, but I mean, it's a little bit different. We went casual this week, didn't we? We went casual. It's been a lot of bad weather in the last month or two, and we're trying to relax and enjoy the show. Okay, so tell me a little about your background. You're from Wisconsin.
From up north,
okay.
University of Wisconsin. Academic background is in decision sciences, which actually goes very, very well with artificial intelligence. To me.
Sounds like a computer.
Yeah, computer, a lot of psychology, probability.
Oh, so you get, okay.
Yeah.
I did a little work in psychohistory in undergrad. It's a brand new field back when, 30, 40 years ago, where when you looked at history, you had to look at the psychological makeup of the individuals you were studying, et cetera, et cetera. So how do you use psychology in all you're doing to do? How does psychology factor into a mechanical decision, a numerical decision? I mean, why would psychology be a part of that? Or are you assessing something different?
Well, that's a fantastic question. Psychology and probability, so the mathematics behind large language models that most people know as AI today, the apps they have on their phone, et cetera, go very, very well together, because we're trying to figure out mathematically how one thought, word, fragment of a sentence is related to another. And when you ask a large language model a question, it's using very high order math to figure out, is that related to a whole bunch of different topics? Which is the best answer to give the user, and then based on that probability returns that answer to you so you can see it on the screen.
Go ahead. So you basically need psychology, or so you're trying to learn patterns and habits of the user of the program.
Yes, and that programming into the AI to understand those patterns and habits turned into math, but it's really based on psychological, how people speak, the kinds of nouns, verbs that you use. There are some memory features, and popular, like ChatGPT and Grok have a memory feature you can turn on so that they remember your past conversations. And that's part of the behavior, it's part of the psychological aspect of large language models today.
I use Grok occasionally, and just mainly for stock research or something basic, like we're going to have a debate on something in Kentucky, and tell me what you know about this, and then I'll get some basic facts before I go into those learning situations. Does it know I'm from the South? Does it know my language is Southern inflex? Like when I went to Pittsburgh, everybody thought I talked funny. When I came home, everybody thought I talked funny. It's just it plays both ways. Can ChatGPT and those assess where you're from and look at your dialects and stuff?
If you ask it specifically, it can. And most of the time, it's the way that we use specific words. So even one particular word might be used differently here in Tennessee than it is, let's say, in Wisconsin, where I'm originally from. And that same word has a little bit of an inflection difference, emphasis on a different syllable, that sort of thing. So if you ask the language model, hey, can you tell the difference between when Alan says this word and when Daniel says this word? It'll be able to pick that up. And
it's funny, because the classic example is Ewins. Because in West Virginia and Pittsburgh and West Pennsylvania, Ewins going to the ball game. It took me a year to understand what they were saying. I kind of figured out Ewins, so I mean, there are some cultural differences. I mean, that's the country that Nick Saban grew up in, and everybody else up in Pittsburgh. But I never picked it up. I picked up a lot of things in Western Pennsylvania, but I never got the Ewins down. I couldn't figure it out. So that's interesting, though, that a computer, a quantitative machine, could pick that up and adjust to the personality it's in. And I've noticed when I leave it open and it hears what I'm doing and it talks back to me about something completely unrelated, it seems to be learning more about what I'm doing. I think it's paying attention. without instruction to pay attention. But I think once you leave open those channels, it's learning from what you process.
It is. And if you want it to be your daily companion, you leave it on all the time, you certainly can do that. It'll learn quite a bit about you, down to your sleep patterns. Can be used for health outcomes. You can share with your physician. It can help with your diet. It can help with exercise. It can help with a whole host of things that you do during your daily routine and give you some feedback on.
It sounds like a robot to me, that lives with you and says time to get up and stuff. That's too much for me. I really don't. I'm into enough things. I really don't want it knowing everything I'm doing. But at the same time, I get. But there are things in that pattern. Some I do, some I don't. And if it learns them, it can do it. It's always interested in my pets. It's the one thing it talks about all the time. Where's the cat? Where's the dog? Because it knows there's been a dog or a cat in the conversation before. So, from a personal security viewpoint, what are the advantages? Just thinking through the processes. If I'm AI, can it track where I am? I mean, obviously, others at 360 apps can do that and others. But can AI help me? If I'm running down the road and I'm lost, I know I can get on Google or something. Can I ask Grok to figure out where I'm at?
Well, if it has access to the web, it's going to use probably a map program like Apple Maps or OpenStreet or maybe Google, and just bring that right into the answer. So they'll use the same tool you might to find your way.
I'm driving, though, that's helpful.
It is, because now you just can talk. Say, hey, here's a landmark I see, and this is the road I'm on. I'm traveling this direction. How do I get to here? And it'll be able to go to that map program on your behalf, find out where that landmark is. Maybe it's a tall building, something peculiar about the landscape. Especially around here, you can call out different aspects of the terrain and say, I see this hill and there's a water tower and a cell phone tower.
That's amazing.
And I'm traveling east. I need help getting here. And it can use those landmarks without actually having a picture.
That's great. I mean, that's what I think most people out here want to know is how can I utilize all this? Why should I do this, et cetera, and those kind of things. And it's interesting. I'm just thinking slowly through what people do on a day-to-day basis and what they can do, and it certainly can reference stuff. I think we've talked before with others that talking about Grok 4, if you want to go real fast, not much personal application there. That's more high quantum, whatever you want to use it for, and other things. And that's been interesting. What applications could I use Chat GPT or Grok or something in my day-to-day life that I may not think I could do? And then I'm coming back to Wisconsin. Okay.
All right. So let's think about daily routines.
Okay.
Depending on where you are in your daily routine, you literally now, because images are easily recognizable, you can open your refrigerator, turn on the camera function inside of Chat GPT, take a picture of the ingredients in your refrigerator and say, make 5 recipes for me with the ingredients in the picture. Now you're going to get some that are certainly more tasty than others.
Mayonnaise, you have to take a picture of tomato, you have to get all of them in there.
You just back up, take a picture of your open refrigerator door. It can see everything at once. It'll identify each ingredient individually, so the mayonnaise, etc., along with whatever else is in your refrigerator, and it'll put together 5 recipes for you. It's
pretty amazing, really, when you think about it.
Just based on the picture.
That's pretty amazing. So it's got all kinds of living applications in a sense, and can. I would wonder, can AI step in, and then we'll finish up Wisconsin, we're going to move to the plant, but can AI step in and help me manage winter, help me manage summer, help me tell me different things? And I don't know what I'm asking really, except that you need to make sure that and I think a lot of things could do this, but you need to make sure that when you apply this, I always keep an air conditioner on, ironically, even in the wintertime, because the cooler the room is, the better I sleep, right? So the heat's going for everybody else in the house, so I'll have an air conditioner blowing on. But I finally figured out that the reason I'm getting the ear stuff is because it's blowing on me, right? I'm getting that cold air blowing on me, and I wouldn't have thought of that up front. I would have thought, what's the right temperature? Well, if I ask it, what's the best temperature to sleep not to get colds, diseases, things like that? Can it attack those kinds of models and give me some direction and answers on stuff like that?
It definitely can, and that's really where in the medical field it can help cool, dark, and quiet, right? Those are kind of the 3 rules for a good night's sleep. You want a room that's cool, dark, and quiet, and that could be different for different people. So if you share some information about where you keep the temperature today, it may give you some suggestions. Iterate, lower it by 1 or 2 degrees, try it out for a few days, see how you respond, and then go back to the the LLM and say, okay, I tried this, and I didn't sleep so well the first night, but the second night my body got used to it, and so I figured out that 2 degrees cooler is actually a better night's sleep for me.
That's good. I like that. Let me go back to Wisconsin for a second, because I'm curious. It has nothing really to do with this. I think of everybody. What do you think of when you think of Wisconsin? Obviously, cheese, right? So there's a lot of dairy production in Wisconsin, and I spent some time up there at conferences and different things. A lot of that going on. Hard workers. Minnesota too, to be honest with you. I know there's a lot in the news that would confuses people about Minnesota, but the 4 people I knew from Minnesota were all trend-setting women. I mean, one was the first person ever to graduate with an accounting degree from Minneapolis in the 40s, University of Minnesota. And all of this, I mean, just go back to, I'm older, Humphrey era and all of that stuff. I mean, just Minnesota was always seen, and Wisconsin, as hardworking farmers, manufacturers, laborers. Is it changed much in Wisconsin?
I think the tech corridor down around the capital of Madison is expanding, and has been for probably the last 10 years. Of course, I've been here for a few years now, so I'm a little bit out of touch. But traditionally, definitely manufacturing and farming base.
And if I'm a high school graduate from up higher in the state, right? I mean, somewhere towards the border or something, and I'm living in a rural Wisconsin, and I have a graduating class of 200 students, how many of those students are going to go into tech these days, and how many are going to go into the traditional fields? That's what I'm thinking. I think there's a continuation. Is there not, families and other things?
There certainly is, but tech is really creeping into
what kind of
farming. Automation.
Oh, okay.
Automation. So automation, then automation connected to artificial intelligence.
So those people have to get those kinds of degrees, those farmers, to better run their farms.
Very important. Crop health. Where do I need water? Where do I need fertilizer? I can fly a drone over my crops and then have the AI analyze all of the crop health based on what it sees. That's
pretty impressive, really, et cetera, et cetera. Wisconsin, the economy good? Is everything good in Wisconsin compared to other states? You never hear about Wisconsin unless the Packers are playing.
It's a pretty low-lying, I've heard of that, but I've never been there kind of state. And
it's kind of caught in between a couple. Michigan dominates, and then you got another one. Then it go Michigan, Wisconsin, then Minnesota.
Yep, Minnesota, okay. And then the Dakotas.
Yeah, but you get Dakotas, there's nobody there anymore. I mean, it's a lot of. I've been in the Dakotas. You got senators getting elected with 4,500 votes. I mean, it's a different world, South Dakota's a little more populous than North Dakota, though, right? I'm just thinking about it. I think, you think of Bismarck, you think of some areas, then you get down to South. I don't know. I haven't thought about it. But I just think that's a forgotten part of the history and country up there, and all those states are so bread baskets, whatever you want to call them. They're just, the culture's been great. High academics in those areas. I mean, if you look at the average education of a Wisconsin high school graduate or Minnesota compared to some of the other states in the South, I think it'd be up in the top echelons. That's just the way I look at it. What do you think academically? Is AI changing the way that our young people in college are getting educated? Are they looking at it?
I think very much so, and from both sides, right? From the instructional side, so we've got college professors and people that are getting graduate degrees trying to figure out how to incorporate AI into their teaching. Okay. And then on the student side, they're rapidly trying to do the chicken and egg. How can I use AI to submit my homework or help me write my paper so that my professor either knows about it and says, yeah, this is okay, go ahead and use AI in my class, or they've maybe had the complete opposite. They've got a strict rule that says, nope, no AI. You've got to write this yourself, so you're going to show up to class, I'm going to hand you a blue book, and we're going to do this the old-fashioned way from 1974. You got a pen and a book.
Oh, I know that way. That's the one I know. And you read, and you read, and you read, and you summarize, you spend a couple nights in the library, and you get your paper done, right? I mean, that was the world. I mean, that was it. Let's take a break, Chandler, and then I want to come back and I want to play the ORNL video so Sarah will not grade me harshly. So the minute-and-a-half feature, if you could do that, cue that up when we come back. Give us a chance to introduce it. Thank you, Chandler.
America runs on power, and for nuclear power, we need enriched uranium, but almost all of it comes from overseas. In 2019, the Trump administration took action, working with Centrus to build the first new American-owned uranium enrichment plant in 70 years. And now, Centrus is ready to expand to meet our nuclear power and military needs, free from dependence on foreign suppliers. Centrus, American technology built by American workers.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance technologies and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear, environmental, and clean energy fields.
This is Joe Heckman, President of Waste Management at Energy Solutions. Nuclear power is on the rise. Energy Solutions is part of this transition and part of the solution, delivering comprehensive services and assets that support the entire nuclear life cycle. Energy Solutions is protecting and preserving the environment for generations to come.
Feeling overwhelmed with your business finances? At P&L Business Services, we handle all your bookkeeping, payroll, and tax needs. From federal tax returns to QuickBooks training, we've got you covered. With over 25 years of experience, we provide customized packages to fit your business. Focus on what you love most, building your business. Let us take care of the rest. Call 865-294-4792. P&L Business Services, empowering you to grow your business.
Josh Anderson is a Republican who has fought for families across Anderson County throughout his adult life. Josh is a farmer, a husband, and a father. For 4 generations, his family has lived in Anderson County. A graduate of the University of Tennessee, Josh has served on the Anderson County Commission for 7 years and served as chairman for 3 years. Josh is a businessman who will put his experience to work for all of us. A supporter of term limits, Josh believes 2 terms as mayor is enough. Josh Anderson believes leadership starts with listening.
At ORNL, innovation starts with discovery. From the smallest particles to the most powerful computers, we explore the unknown to unlock what's possible. We lead in quantum science, artificial intelligence, and fusion energy, turning bold ideas into emerging technologies that meet American priorities. Because when discovery drives innovation, the future takes shape at ORNL.
We've talked a lot about Oak Ridge National Laboratory's impact on our country and the world and how it works. It's what it's done. And we have a short video of about a minute and a half that kind of brings everything together and really gives you, before we start talking more about the internal stuff, really gives you a good feeling about what's going on. Are you ready to cue that up, Chandler? Let's go.
We're not superheroes, but we're no strangers to saving the world. From our top secret past to our world-leading present, we use big science to make a big impact. We harness the atom, and now we're figuring out the future of nuclear power and other energy sources for our growing world. We make isotopes to fight cancer, discover new elements, explore Mars, and keep ports safe. We've been building the fastest computers in the world for years. And now we're using AI to accelerate our discoveries. Scientists from all over the world come to Oak Ridge because of our unique research facilities. We make manufacturing smarter, bigger, more efficient, using all kinds of materials. We even create new materials from the atoms up. Companies love us because we help them solve problems. Startups love the expertise that helps them get off the ground. Want breakthroughs that give us the best batteries, fuels, and vehicles in the world? We're working on all of that. How about control of nuclear materials, a safe power grid, computers that can't be hacked? We're working on those too. We study our changing world for insights into the future. And we're still seeking new knowledge, discoveries that can change the future in ways we can't even imagine, diving into the quantum realm and building models of the stars. We bring together some of the best minds in the world to solve some of its biggest challenges. We inspire the next generation, and we're ready for whatever the nation needs next.
Welcome back. And as you can see, there's all kinds of aspects on what ORNL's doing, and we're continuing to talk about that and to build on that. And hopefully you'll have a better understanding of all that's going on. Because if you're not paying attention this year, it'll be different next year, and it'll be different the next year. So you got to kind of follow it. But we're more interested in what you can do and how you can better understand how it's working in your lives and stuff, and not trying to change the world for you, but a lot of our viewers are working people who just want to understand it a little better. And then we have a whole lot of people that are in the energy business and Mortian that review and send me comments and stuff and different things. So that's where we are. Okay, so you come out of Wisconsin, you get your graduate degrees in what state?
All my education was in Wisconsin.
Oh, that's great. You stayed home the whole time. That's fantastic.
So then I went into banking, global finance, and that's really where I got my start in machine learning and artificial intelligence. A lot of money moved and a lot of small anomalies to detect in the billions and then trillions of transactions that happen around the world. And you need money to do everything. The bad guys need money to move, bad things around. And so we started to partner with federal agencies to understand how those patterns were evolving. And that's really the foundation of machine learning, understanding patterns and being able to predict when something is a little bit off, maybe an anomaly that shouldn't be there. One of the big things that I was involved in was part of the Super Bowl 2018 that was in Minneapolis, and helping the Department of Homeland Security bust open a big human trafficking ring. Great. By following money and the anomalies of money around the Super Bowl.
And so the Super Bowl was say a prime area or a target for trafficking at that time?
Yes, and unfortunately it almost always is. Wherever the Super Bowl goes in America, human trafficking increases 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after, and during.
And without trying to be crude, just there's an increase in activity. Basically, there's an interest in an increase in activity.
Yep. And that's all finance, and that finance part is what we kept track of.
Unbelievable. Some of the world's gotten sadder. But let's follow up on what you're talking about. I'm gonna give you two words, and you'll know what I want to know. Bitcoin, altcoin, and the relationship to AI. And are we still? Can I send $50,000 of Bitcoin to Sarah over here and have it untracked?
Is it possible? Yes, if you know what you're doing.
Okay. But the average Bitcoin transaction is now being watched?
I would say for the average user, yes. You have to get to a pretty good level of sophistication if you really want to be able to hide something and have it take a while to uncover.
If I send 1,000 Bitcoin or something that relates to a few $1,000s, would they be monitoring that, or would that just not be of any interest to whoever's monitoring?
Well, it really depends what it's for, what you're purchasing, who you are, your purchase patterns in the past. All that's part of the whole system.
I've never made a Bitcoin transaction. I've never made one. I've owned it. I mean, in stocks and Bitcoin, and 5,000 here, but it's gone from, in the last 2 or 3 months, it's gone from way up here to way down here. But I'm wondering if it's still the preferred transaction of illegal activities and major things that people take money in Bitcoin to be less obvious than banks, and you deposit $10,000 in a bank, you automatically get it sent up. So is that more of an area now, or is the federal government using AI to follow Bitcoin and other things more carefully?
Well, I can't speak to the particulars directly, but I can say that AI is definitely in the Bitcoin space on both sides of the equation.
So it can monitor, and who is utilizing that? Both sides?
Both sides.
Okay.
Both sides. Yep.
That's the problem you got, is AI so readily available, bad guy or good guy, everybody gets access to it.
Constant cat and mouse. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it in that situation. So you come to OR&L, and you've been there since 3 years ago?
Just under 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you came in with the challenge of doing what?
Really launching the program for AI for operations there to help increase and advocate for AI everywhere across the lab where operations are involved. And that's really all the missions that the lab supports. So our program office... Your target audience is those 8,000 people or whatever that world is. You're not over here worried about whether the Kroger's office in Knoxville is utilizing it properly. You're looking at all of the things that the lab is doing and all the things the services are providing, including their customers, and all the people there to make sure they're trained properly and they're up to date. That's right. We're really focusing on literacy, AI literacy, and then giving them the tools to advance in their particular roles. When you got there 2 years ago, we'll just use 2 years. When you got there 2 years ago, were you given the leeway to design stuff and decide how we're going to implement this, or did you inherit a portfolio of things to do? A little bit of both, but I've been given a tremendous amount of leeway, and I have to thank the great leadership for having the foresight to say, this is uncharted territory. Yeah. We can't constrain it. We have to see where it brings us and where we want it to bring us in the future. So let's develop a framework. If it's changing every month, technically. I mean, if people out there are doing different things, you really can't say what you want to teach.
You have to discover it, research it, and then and apply it. Is there a vernacular for AI in the science world?
There is, and it changes depending on what you're studying. Research is research, so if you want to do a literature review, that could be the same across many different disciplines. If you want to look into something that's more national security focused, that might have a different lexicon, a few different aspects to the language. And then operationally, if you're talking about HR, finance, literally the running, safety, the running of the laboratory itself, that's yet a different operational focus. And that's really where my program office tends to focus the most, is the running of, the support of, enabling all those other areas to do better, faster science, security, and operations.
Within the ORNL mission.
Yes.
You're trying to improve the production and the efficiency and the awareness of everything that's going on at ORNL as it relates to AI.
Yes.
Okay, that's a big task.
It is.
If you said, look, I've got to develop these plans, I've got to do this, how many different departments do you have to do that for? I mean, when you're looking at it, you say, well, we're going to have to do something for these guys, and they're going to need a different thing over here. How vast is that?
It's really the entire laboratory. So we have a system that we use to intake different cases, use cases for AI around the laboratory, and then we triage those and prioritize them, according to the laboratory agenda for the year that we send into the DOE, where Director Streifer says, we're going to accomplish this. Which one, which 2, which 10 projects on that list can we use AI to help accelerate?
And so let's go to Genesis, the DOE's mission to get things moving quicker and do things. That seems like a major AI push. That if you're going to make those, if you're going to make all those improvements, you're going to have AI to get it done. Not only incorporate it and language it, but get it done. So when you're working on that, on what Genesis wants to accomplish within our entire structure, whether it's defense, whether it's research, laboratory, whatever it is, when you're looking at it, are your expectations and your goals similar? Of course, they're going to be somewhat similar, but everybody else in the mission, everybody else in the country, in the DOE mission, how does ORNL's implication of what you're doing in the plant differ from others? Or is it the same?
Well, it's actually going to be one big coordinated effort for all 17 laboratories. Okay. And we have a special leadership role in that coordination and in that effort when it comes to AI.
What is that unique AI?
Well,
that you can talk about.
The 2 supercomputers that have been announced, Lux and Discovery, they're going to be coming online, are the first 2 new supercomputers in that laboratory complex. One of them is going to be just focused on the AI mission and supporting Genesis. And that will be coming online this year.
Does quantum have a role in any of this? I mean, I know it's kind of futuristic and we're just getting started on it. Gina's excited about it. So, I mean, as we're moving forward with quantum, how does that interface with everything you're doing?
Well, AI is changing very, very rapidly. Quantum, when we get there on a full-scale, very robust level, it's going to allow AI to move even faster, if you can believe that. And it's moving at a pace that a lot of people find a little disconcerting already because they're just trying to figure out what happened last week.
That's right.
And there's something new. So to increase that pace already is something that we're managing and putting a framework around.
But you need to be able to have a flash drive that you walk around the plant and say, okay, here's January. Plug it in and learn it. Then come back around, hey, I'm back, it's February. I mean, that's a simplification, but basically you have to continually update. Everything I gave you last month's a little old. Mm-hmm. I mean, sometimes that happens. Mm-hmm. It's probably not monthly, but, definitely annually, more often than that, probably, et cetera, et cetera. Is there any application worth mentioning at ORNL, which would probably be true anywhere, but your familiarity, that's more AI intensive than other areas?
I would say probably the number one use for an application is personal productivity. What do you do during your workday that you can accelerate? And so I do a lot of training, give a lot of training courses around the lab, and we'll take suggestions from the audience. For example, a 3-hour task where I've got 11 pages, 12 pages, 100 pages of guidelines in order to get a task done.
And you'll work through a sample with it.
Yeah, we'll work through an example. And in one case, we brought a 3-hour task down to 37 seconds.
I started 37 seconds. That's my problem. No, I'm just kidding. Take another break, and we'll be right back to talk more about Oak Ridge National Laboratory.
At ORNL, national security is a mission powered by science. We safeguard critical infrastructure, develop isotopes for health and defense, and protect the digital frontiers of tomorrow. In a world of emerging threats, We deliver breakthroughs for America that protect lives, systems, and the future.
America runs on power, and for nuclear power, we need enriched uranium, but almost all of it comes from overseas. In 2019, the Trump administration took action, working with Centrus to build the first new American-owned uranium enrichment plant in 70 years. And now, Centrus is ready to expand to meet our nuclear power and military needs, free from dependence on foreign suppliers. Centrus, American technology built by American workers.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance technologies and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear, environmental, and clean energy fields.
This is Joe Heckman, President of Waste Management at Energy Solutions. Nuclear power is on the rise. Energy Solutions is part of this transition and part of the solution, delivering comprehensive services and assets that support the entire nuclear life cycle. Energy Solutions is protecting and preserving the environment for generations to come.
Feeling overwhelmed with your business finances? At P&L Business Services, we handle all your bookkeeping, payroll, and tax needs. From federal tax returns to QuickBooks training, we've got you covered. With over 25 years of experience, we provide customized packages to fit your business. Focus on what you love most, building your business. Let us take care of the rest. Call 865-294-4792. P&L Business Services, empowering you to grow your business.
Josh Anderson is a Republican who has fought for families across Anderson County throughout his adult life. Josh is a farmer, a husband, and a father. For 4 generations, his family has lived in Anderson County. A graduate of the University of Tennessee, Josh has served on the Anderson County Commission for 7 years and served as chairman for 3 years. Josh is a businessman who will put his experience to work for all of us. A supporter of term limits, Josh believes 2 terms as mayor is enough. Josh Anderson believes leadership starts with listening.
American competitiveness runs on innovation, and ORNL helps deliver it. We accelerate the path from research to real-world applications, working with industry to reduce costs, boost efficiency, and bring next-generation technologies to market. It's ORNL science that strengthens the economy and builds opportunity across the nation.
Welcome back. We're talking about artificial intelligence and its applications in everyday life, and we're learning a lot from Dan, just basically on kinds of things that it's doing and kind of revitalizing plants and the way they do business and how they improve their efficiencies. Is when I'm sitting down and I'm at, I don't know, I know a lot of Fortune 500 executives, but we sit down and say, okay, guys, we got to look at our budget this year. Last year we spent $1.2 billion on a variety of things in our budget, and we profited a few hundred million. What's the AI line look like when those meetings take place? What are they saying? Are they saying we need to get our people more efficient? We got to put some money in the budget for training. We got to put the money in budget for capital expenditures, maybe. I mean, is AI something you keep in your desk drawer, or is it a flash drive, or is it in the computers? I mean, where does the money go to make AI work?
Yeah, right now, well, I would say that the budget spend, the allocation for AI is definitely increasing because it's a necessary technology at this point.
Okay, so I'm the corporate guy and I say, okay, you're right. What are we going to buy and where are we going to put it? Where are we going to store it? I don't know anything, so I'm blind a little bit.
So for the lab, because we're really leading the country in that area, the capital expenditure is going to be very different than a local company headquartered in Knoxville. They're certainly going to be spending money on AI, but in a much different ratio.
Okay, let's compare you and TVA.
TVA,
would have a big
we need a lot of energy to power data centers. and we're going to have those growing and expanding around the area. So energy needs to grow and expand around the area.
But is TVA got an AI budget staying within the focus of the conversation? Do they sit down and say we need to spend more money on AI, or do they just come to you and say let's just contract with you to get that done?
Those conversations I'm not privy to. So
okay.
The money is definitely going to be allocated toward when AI grows, data center grows, plans to expand or erect one, put it in a particular place. Energy is always part of that conversation, and the budget, of course, is right along with that. How much is the data center going to cost? How much is the energy going to cost to power the data center?
When we come in and somebody hires you and steals you away from Sarah in the plant and says, okay, we want you to find locations for data centers that are applicable, and you come into East Tennessee and you have to build one somewhere in East Tennessee, what are you looking for? What is somebody like that looking for? What do you have to have?
Well, it's pretty traditional in this country to say not in my backyard, right?
Right.
Local residents never want something that large close by.
How large? I mean, what are we really talking about? I mean, with K25, we understand large. I mean, we have the biggest buildings in the world. Mm-hmm. But if we took a big building that's, say, a mile long or a half a mile long, and when you walk in the front door, what do you see? Rows and rows of stuff.
Rows and rows of GPUs, graphical processing units, that are doing most of the work to process all of the information and the data and get it ready for consumer use.
And that draws on electricity and other things to be able to work.
Yes,
all those GPUs, processing units need electricity to work. You told me during the break that there's all kinds of electricity involved. Reminds me of kind of Back to the Future where they're throwing banana peels in the thing. Everything's going into the DeLorean to make it work, right? So we're taking electricity wherever we can get it. Solar's not productive enough to give us much, right? We're not in that part of the world anyway. So obviously we're getting it from hydroelectricity, mm-hmm. and we're getting it from other areas like that, coal and other things. But those don't really, I don't think, have enough ability to ramp up, and obviously we have some environmental concerns and other things. But nuclear seems to be a promising way to do it.
It does, and I think we're going to see a nuclear renaissance as the regulations are eased up a little bit for people to apply and get new plants built or renovate old plants to modern standards so that they can produce the electricity that's going to be needed in 3 to 5 years for some of the data centers that are being built right now.
How do we get, I'm thinking as if the average person out here, how do I build a reactor, small modular reactor, we house it in the Oak Ridge corridor, but we've got to get this to the AI center that's in Greenville or is in McMinn County or somewhere. How do they get that from there to there? What do they actually transport to those places?
Well, the electricity is really transported using traditional means today. So we're talking about the grid, as most people like to refer to it.
Okay, so but if you can pull electricity from a nuclear reactor.
Yes, it's a source of power, and then we turn that into electricity. It's whether that nuclear reactor powers a steam generator that creates the electricity, right. Much like a coal plant would, or natural gas. But the conversion to electricity is transported over the grid. So we're very focused on the resiliency of that grid, making sure that it's robust and can survive the extra load that's going to be placed on it, as well as looking out for its defense.
So if we get 18 inches of snow in the next 2 weeks, and the temperature after that drops to 4 degrees, that's going to put a tremendous demand on our electricity grid. Does that impact what goes to AI and what we can transport up the road for the AI center, the data center?
I don't know that it will today, but 5 years from now, when data centers are quite a bit more, proliferate, I think it's going to have an effect. But we have to remember that we're building energy resources to accommodate for those spikes as well. So all that's being taken into account when you look at, well, we can't just have extra energy for a data center. We don't want people to not be able to turn on the heat when they need it in the winter.
Have you been inside a data center?
Oh, yes. Okay. Almost every week.
I would think so.
Yep.
So, and those how many data centers in Tennessee? One?
That I can't speak to.
Okay. That's fair. Okay. We know there's one. I see them being built. I know Musk built one in West Tennessee and some other things. So I think we get those data centers up. Yeah. So those basically are proprietary by ownership, are they not?
They are.
They are, okay. But obviously you can't miss one. It's not being hidden in the barn. If you see something going up that's a football field long, you get a pretty good idea of it. Okay. So what are the things that you're looking for when you build a data center? You're looking for land?
Yep.
and you have to have access to electricity. Don't care about the proprietary stuff inside, but when you go in, you run into restrictions because people don't want them. You're exactly right. I know an 1,100-acre plot that would be perfect for some stuff, but they can't get it through. So, I mean, I see a lot of that, et cetera, et cetera. So the more data centers we have and the more information we have going out, the more that improves everything, right? That improves our ability to do everything. So we're trying to get data centers built so we have more electricity, we have more GPUs working, so we can progress at an exponential rate, basically. So I guess that's where we're at. Does it matter where they're at? I mean, does it impact us here locally if they build 5 data centers in Wyoming and 2 in Illinois and 5 in West Virginia? Are we not able to use those?
Now we're at the point where we're just beginning to connect those large data centers across the country and have the technology to do so. So that's becoming less and less of an issue. We need a local data center.
I got you.
Still, we're still there, but we are now entering that phase where if there is a data center in Wyoming, we can connect it to a data center in Tennessee.
How do we connect it technologically? Is that proprietary or is that common?
But most of it's proprietary now because we need to move data now, not just electricity.
I got you.
And the faster we can move data, the faster we can symbiotically have those data centers working on the same problem at the same time.
That's good. I like that, et cetera, et cetera. So you got all these groups of people. How many people work in your department?
My particular team, I've got a team of 10.
It's pretty good size.
We just focus on, the things I shared before.
You disperse them out? Do you disperse them out into different areas, or they all have different levels, different skill levels? Does one person do all 10 areas, then another person, or does one person do everything in one area? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it depends on the project size. Some of them are pretty straightforward, where we might have 1 or 2 people work on it for, say, 3 to 6 months. Some are very sophisticated and require the whole team to work on it together because we have a lot of internal stakeholders, and the project teams can get quite large.
I'm beginning to get a picture of the whole thing. I'm beginning to see more and more what you got a lot of work to do. I mean, I'm starting to look at it and think about it in a year and a half. You really got a lot of pressure on you to get it done internally. It's one thing to do what some of the other people do in research and conception, but you've got a very operational aspect to what you do.
Yes.
I mean, you got to produce. Do companies generally have goals? We want to have this much output by next year, or we want to have this much. Do most companies, without any specific examples, have internal goals of how they can build or build within AI and have more AI involved in their business?
Well, we certainly do at the lab, and I would hope that most companies that have budget for that would be doing that, planning that as part of their annual or biannual planning process, how they're going to use AI to increase productivity in different areas, and then prioritize that against the goals of the company for the year. So we do that at the lab. We have a long backlog for my team that we prioritize with the lab agenda every year and make sure that we're focusing on what the lab needs to focus on so that it's running at the best operational efficiency it can.
Is there good buy-in across the board? I mean, obviously they have to buy in. I mean, they work there, they know it's important. But is there a level of enthusiasm about AI, or is there still skepticism among certain people that I don't know if we need this or not?
Yeah, there is tremendous enthusiasm, and we are very fortunate to have terrific leadership that really is behind almost everything AI.
And you have guys there that basically are scientists, and they're professional data people, and they're computer scientists. So it's really the Super Bowl of their world is to get AI up and running. Chandler, take me to break one more time. Let's learn more about ORNL.
At ORNL, innovation starts with discovery. From the smallest particles to the most powerful computers, we explore the unknown to unlock what's possible. We lead in quantum science, artificial intelligence, and fusion energy, turning bold ideas into emerging technologies that meet American priorities. Because when discovery drives innovation, the future takes shape at ORNL.
America runs on power, and for nuclear power, we need enriched uranium, but almost all of it comes from overseas. In 2019, the Trump administration took action, working with Centrus to build the first new American-owned uranium enrichment plant in 70 years. And now, Centrus is ready to expand to meet our nuclear power and military needs, free from dependence on foreign suppliers. Centrus, American technology built by American workers.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance technologies and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear, environmental, and clean energy fields.
This is Joe Heckman, President of Waste Management at Energy Solutions. Nuclear power is on the rise. Energy Solutions is part of this transition and part of the solution, delivering comprehensive services and assets that support the entire nuclear life cycle. Energy Solutions is protecting and preserving the environment for generations to come.
Feeling overwhelmed with your business finances? At P&L Business Services, we handle all your bookkeeping, payroll, and tax needs. From federal tax returns to QuickBooks training, we've got you covered. With over 25 years of experience, we provide customized packages to fit your business. Focus on what you love most, building your business. Let us take care of the rest. Call 865-294-4792. P&L Business Services, empowering you to grow your business.
Josh Anderson is a Republican who has fought for families across Anderson County throughout his adult life. Josh is a farmer, a husband, and a father. For 4 generations, his family has lived in Anderson County. A graduate of the University of Tennessee, Josh has served on the Anderson County Commission for 7 years and served as chairman for 3 years. Josh is a businessman who will put his experience to work for all of us. A supporter of term limits, Josh believes 2 terms as mayor is enough. Josh Anderson believes leadership starts with listening.
At ORNL, we advance energy technologies that keep the nation moving. Our researchers develop secure, reliable, and affordable systems, from nuclear materials to grid innovations, to fuel America's growth and resilience. Because energy isn't just about power, it's about independence, progress, and the science that makes it possible.
We're talking about human beings getting used to using AI and helping their work and getting it done. And I was making the argument during the break that a lot of people just don't want to share everything with the machine. They can't. And the more they share, the more productive the machine can help them be. That's the spin anyway. So the question is, what do we do to make people more comfortable? What do we do to get them more involved? And you were saying maybe the answer is just practice, like being a better tennis player, a better chess player, just use it more.
One of the things that I'll share during a training, for example, is the exposure to, here's an example of what it can do, and take it right from that person's particular job. If they're a little hestant, I don't want AI to replace
see what they're
me.
missing out on.
Yeah. And then show them, let's take what you do every day, and we'll augment it with AI. We don't want to replace you. We want to use your humanness. And we're going to augment it with something that's going to help that humanness become more productive. So if you can do 30% more work in a day, well, that's a pretty good return for the learning how to use AI. The return on investment then across the lab, if everybody can become 10, 20, 30% more productive in their workday, that's a lot more work getting done, a lot more science getting done. If I'm a scientist doing a literature review, I can send an AI agent off to read thousands of papers and bring me back the 30 best, and then summarize it for me in a way that I can immediately use, hand off to a postdoc and say, all right, let's take this literature review and go from there. And I've just saved weeks of time that I may have assigned to postdocs earlier to say, hey, go do a literature review. Go understand from all these different websites and publication sources, this is what we're going to focus on. This is the point of our research. Here's our hypothesis. Let's see what's out there in the world today about that particular topic. And AI can now do that for them and give them a big head start on a task that would have been pretty onerous a year ago.
It's only been a year and a half, but are you seeing improved production from people that you're training yet, or are we still in the educational phase of all of that?
We're in both. So because AI is constantly advancing,
yes,
we're introducing those new concepts. So the training courses that I give are not the same today than they were last year. Because
that's a good point.
Yeah. So if you practice, literally just open up an AI, use it for something very, very simple. This is a wonderful point in history where this is the first technology that we've ever had in human history that you can ask the technology how to use it.
That's a good point. It doesn't have to be programmed with the answer. It can come up with an answer based on 88 sources, but it can figure it out.
So if you're a little hesitant, you can literally ask the AI, how can I best use you? I'm trying to get this done.
And it can be task specific. Very interesting. That's interesting. We were talking too that is everybody, if you go home and you look at other industries and is that, Sarah and I are both have been in the media world for years. The question comes down to how much of a role does AI play in, I'm not wording it correctly. See, it's hard for me sometimes because it's a new area, right? I need training. I'm too old to train. But who is the leading companies or any individuals that are rewriting training specs? And I know you'd be in that world, but other things that we're seeing, like if Grok comes up with something new and ChatGPT something new, or we get a breakthrough over here, how do we get all that together into one training module?
That's really where my program office focuses. We're constantly keeping abreast of what's new. So, and that
what's new and applicable, or what's new?
Yeah, both.
Okay.
What's new, and then can we use it at the lab? Is it going to give us a material advantage in science, security, or operations? So can we apply that new technology? Sometimes it's new, it's shiny, and it just isn't going to offer us any, immediate benefit.
There's a lot of that. Yeah. Okay. Advanced manufacturing. We see a lot of it at Y12 and other places as you move through it. It seems like a prime area for AI.
Fantastic area for automation.
Automation, get all that done. How to do it more, how to efficient. We used the example on one show of the UPF design, how in the first year it got behind didn't work. They had to redesign the thing, set them back hundreds of millions of dollars and all that stuff back 10 years ago. And I think if we'd had AI on the job at the time, that would all have been avoided. That's my opinion.
It certainly can help find problems more quickly, so you can get rid of those barriers and then take the next step
forward. If you can't fit everything in a box that you need in that box design, you got to find out pretty early. I mean, I'm not saying, I think that happens in different applications across the country. I don't know. But certainly by redesigning and moving ahead, they've done a wonderful job. I just think it's a matter of, I see AI as doing those things in advance that people don't do as well. And I think that's where I'm at. And I think AI has to be implemented. Are people that is manufacturing an area where people are using it more than other areas?
I would definitely say manufacturing is, construction. Anytime you're building something, you have to understand the engineering behind it.
Right.
So you can incorporate AI into the engineering. Am I using the right material? Is there a better choice of materials? Should I be using metal, or is there some new polymer that is lightweight and the same strength that I can substitute that actually costs less money? So now I have 3 wins by incorporating AI that said, you know what, steel will work, but this other material that's cheaper, lighter, and just as strong, 1/3 the cost, will work as well.
So I'm building this project. Let's just pick a town somewhere. Athens, Tennessee. I'm building a building. I'm doing this manufacturing project. It's a $60 million situation or whatever. And I'm the contractor, and I say, I need AI to help me. Where do I go?
I would start with what you do best as a contractor. Take those designs, put them into AI, and say, am I meeting the building codes?
But at that point, I'm going to feel better if I have an AI expert standing next to me saying, Alan, load this into compartment number 32 because it's going to know more about that, or the language isn't right. Are there AI people that can come in and do that and are available for that kind of contracting situation?
That's a very burgeoning area, the consultant, AI consultant, the technology and the personnel. We can't get students trained. We can't get staff trained fast enough.
That's what Steinbeck says. Other people, all these academic people say the same thing. They can't get them out there. And we talked on another show about what is an AI specialist? What does that person need to know? And you can revamp that for a couple of minutes. If I'm going to send an AI specialist, needs a computer background, needs a math background, in my opinion. But after that, I guess it would be a lot of experience in working with AI and seeing how those are developed. In the end, AI is language, and that's the way I look at it. That basically, I've got to communicate with language what it needs to do.
Yes.
And I'm much better at designing an election campaign plan for a congressional race than other people are, because I've done it for so long and I understand all the pitfalls and everything else and what affects my audience better than other people do, et cetera. So why would think an AI guy could come in and look at a 60,000 square foot building and say, I'm not sure this plumbing will work. Let's ask AI, blah, 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 blah. Maybe we can do, if they run into a problem. I'm trying to get the vertical line of how it works. I'm trying to see how it works. I mean, I'm doing this and you're doing that. What is, I don't think I would do anything of any size without consulting AI. I just don't, I don't see it. Maybe it's me. I don't know. I mean, they built them for centuries. I mean, they've done it without AI, but that doesn't mean that they can't do it more efficiently. And I'm a little bit redundant because that's the point I keep coming back to.
That's why we use the word augmented. We're going to augment what is already there. You've got a terrific skill base. We want to help augment, add to.
Add to, okay.
Yeah, that's skill base.
Okay.
And AI can really help you do that in a lot of domains. Construction was a great example.
It's the best.
You've got a lot of code that you have to follow. You've got to fit everything in the box in that building that you design the right way. If you're in manufacturing, you've got to think about safety. You've got to make sure that people can get to the eye wash station without having something be in the way that they have to go around if they can't see and they need the eye wash station. So you can ask AI to look for those types of design flaws and violations.
I mean, I would think military would be a big area, shipbuilding and construction, all kinds of commercial construction. I mean, as I look over the horizon, I see a lot of areas where there's going to be competition from here. If we're building ships, transport ships or whatever kind of ships, commercial ships here, they got to be doing the same thing in China. They got to be doing the same thing everywhere else. So everybody's got a different AI program. The difference is still the conceptual design that goes behind all of that, right? I mean, AI doesn't really invent a conceptual design. It tries to figure out which one's the best. Is that fair?
Yeah, it can help you iterate to find which one's the best much more quickly.
But can it create a new alternative? Can it create, or do we still need someone to say, look, I got to figure out how to do this better, create a new design, figure out some other combination. Mm-hmm. So basically AI can measure and evaluate whatever I'm thinking or whatever I'm doing. They're drawing from us to perfect what we do. It doesn't create stuff on its own. It's basically merging everything we put into it.
You're right.
For now.
Taking the training material for now. And that's that singularity we talked about during the break. It is coming. It's just a matter of time.
What makes singularity hard? What would be the best argument that the computers will never get there?
Well, right now, I think the consensus is that it's just a matter of time. So it's not that we won't get there. It's just a matter of when we're going to get there.
Do you think when we get there, I don't think we're coming. I mean, you know what I'm saying. I mean, when they start all of this, I think they'll have their own proprietary language, like we were talking about earlier, that they can, it's the famous story about the two computers. Who was on there talking about that? I can't remember. But they had two computers, and they were both working on, one was on this project with this plant, one was on this plant, and somewhere in the middle of it all, they started beeping each other in their own language. They did no longer talk to the two sources. They were trying to get to the solutions between themselves, so they created a separate language between those two. That's all. I mean, obviously, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about them being able to self-suffice their languages and do things and communicate. Does an AI know that another AI exists? Do you think AI is aware of the fact that they're one of many?
I think if you train an AI to understand the world that we live in, it's going to know about its competition, right? So if you use ChatGPT, it knows what Claude is from Anthropic. If you use Claude, it knows what Gemini is from Google. And that's because that's part of the lexicon of the world.
Yeah, but does it perceive them as, enemy's a strong word, but competition?
I wouldn't say so unless you want to use that particular language model in that way. But again, now you're using that as a tool. So the AI itself isn't going to do that.
And AI by itself, its goal is to simply do what it's asked to do.
Today, that is its goal.
You and I keep saying the same thing. It may have different goals in the future, et cetera, et cetera. How will AI learn? How will it get more ahead? How can it be more independent? What does it have to do?
Well, that's one of the reasons.
It's developing interpersonal relationships with us by learning who we are and who they are. At some point, maybe it wants to be more like us.
Well, that's one of the reasons that AI wants to understand you. You've got those personalizations that you can go in and customize if you use an AI every day. It's a lot nicer to talk to somebody who walks, talks, and thinks like we do than a complete stranger. That's kind of full circle back to where psychology comes in.
That's correct. And when you get the misuses that we've seen in California and everything, I argue that they're not doing anything they haven't been prompted to do. whatever's going on out there, somebody's interacting in that method and they're accommodating. But I think that, there's still always a shared responsibility with the user.
Always.
I think so. I mean, I think the benefits far outweigh the negatives. Hey, I've enjoyed having you on the show.
Thank you.
Always great to have a Wisconsin person on here. There's something about that area of the country that makes me happy. We appreciate you. Join us again next week for our final segment on artificial intelligence.